don't come for peace, I come for the storm. Fanboys melt quick when the truth gets warm. Saw content's high, I'm collecting those tears. Just got started, but I'm cutting through fears. I'm not here for brand deals, I'm not for sale. I expose your lies, rip off the veil.
Have you guys heard? Switch 2 accounts have been getting banned. Let's find out what Nintendo Prime has to say about it.
All right, everyone. Look, we got to go into this story today because I need to, basically put out a PSA.
Yes, please do, Prime Me. We have been waiting.
I need to let people know that, hey, you guys, there are consoles getting bricked.
Are they? I thought they just been getting banned. Now they're getting bricked?
And, okay. Let's rewind a little bit. No. Switch 2s aren't being bricked.
Okay, that's better, because, oh boy, I was about to go crazy for a second.
They're being banned. And we're now getting multiple reports of Switch 2 being banned.
Okay, that's a little better than being bricked. But come on, Primey, get to your point already. I ain't got all damn day.
Because people are doing something with their Switch 2. Nintendo clearly doesn't want you to do it. No, we're not talking about...
Who cares what Nintendo wants you to do with it? It's your system. You own it. They sold it to you. They no longer have a say what you can do as long as you're not doing anything illegal.
Hacking the system. Obviously, if you're trying to do that and you connect to Nintendo's online servers, yeah, you're probably going to get your system banned, if not bricked.
Well, if you're actually hacking the system and you're doing something that's illegal, then yeah, they should ban it over being bricked because it's not their console. They shouldn't be ever allowed to brick your system.
According to their license agreement, at least here in the US.
I do not care about that license agreement. It doesn't mean anything. It's your system, not theirs.
No, systems are being banned for different reasons. And that reason could be something that's affecting legit consumers.
Oh, is old Primey coming back? Believe it or not, at one point, Primey was a lot like us. He was very pro-consumer. Come on, Primey, bring back the old Prime.
And that's why we need to talk about this, because there are legit consumers who might have been doing a certain thing in order to help consolidate their physical library.
Yes, and if they want to consolidate their physical library onto their PC, it should be none of Nintendo's business. Who cares what they want?
In a legal way that Nintendo is, well, getting mad about.
And who cares if Nintendo's getting mad? I can care less what Nintendo has to say. They sold it to you, you bought it, it's no longer their system anymore. Come on, Primey, I know the old Prime is itching to come out. I know it wants to claw its way out. Let it out.
Something running on the system, but it wasn't a useful hack that actually led to anything major.
Oh, but it will.
Because nothing's come of it, right? Like no one's gained access or root access to the system or been able to put home root. Like basically nothing's really happened since that hack.
Oh, but it will. And I can't wait for it to happen because I want these games to be data mined.
But there's another device out there people have been using a lot that we talked about and we even warned about and covered in the past. And we're talking, of course, about the MIG Switch. The MIG Switch.
Yes, which is very legal. And if Nintendo don't like it, they can suck it. They can suck the whole damn thing.
Has a few components to it. There's the part that connects it to the PC. There's the actual cart itself that you put a micro SD card in. And then there's the dumper, which is where you stick a physical Switch game in.
Yes, we understand what the MIG Switch is. Please come on, Primey, get to your point already.
To dump the game to your PC, and then you can put it onto your, obviously, onto your micro SD, your cartridge, your MIG Switch cartridge.
Okay, and who cares if Nintendo likes this or not? You own the console, you own the game, you own the MIG Switch. If you want to sit here, back up your game onto the PC, there's nothing wrong with that.
And then use it in your Switch 1. Now, people have showed in the past, including SpawnWave, that this didn't really work in Switch 2. You can get it to recognize eventually multiple games and put it in and out really fast.
Okay, so it doesn't work at the moment. Why is Nintendo throwing a little temper tantrum?
But it didn't work, and the people behind MIG Switch said they were working on an update. Well, they released that update last Friday, and version 1.2, I believe, is what it's called. Don't quote me on this. I'm not an expert on this field. And it allowed Switch 1 games to be played on your Switch 2.
Oh, so they updated it. Still, why should Nintendo care? If you bought the game legally, you put it on the PC, then you put it on the MIG Switch, who cares what Nintendo wants?
Look, people can use this device for nefarious reasons. You could just load it up with a bunch of pirated games, or you could use it for legal reasons, which is...
Whether you load it up with pirated games or legal games, it shouldn't matter to Nintendo. They don't own the console. You own it. It's your console.
You could dump your own games and put it on there. That's actually completely legal, but it doesn't mean it's legal to do that and connect to online servers.
How so? It sounds like that is perfectly fine.
And that is what everyone is finding out this weekend with multiple reports. Should have been pretty obvious, but then again, you weren't getting banned for this on Switch 1 because Nintendo had no way to detect the MIG switch.
I mean, it shouldn't matter if Nintendo can detect it or not. As long as you're not doing anything illegal with it, it shouldn't matter. And even if you are putting, like, let's say a pirated game on there, technically, it's not their console, so Nintendo shouldn't have a say in it, period. Now, if they sat there, brought over something that they weren't supposed to, that could hack, their online server, then that's completely different.
On Switch 1, that is not the case on Switch 2. So, Switch Tools here says, my Switch 2 test has been banned.
Yeah, that is so BS. What exactly is it banned from? I don't think you've explained yet what the banning and the bricking thing is the difference.
After using the MIG switch with a perfectly legal dump of my own cartridges, so it would seem that Nintendo can detect something. Similar reports are on Reddit and are starting to come in.
Please tell me, Prime, that you're not going to be okay with this. Please tell me you're going to stand up for the consumer. Please, Primey, let the inner Prime out.
I strongly recommend that you do not use the MIG switch. It was already very risky to use it, but even more so on Switch 2, and you can see his error code here taken with his cell phone.
Screw Nintendo. If you want to put a MIG switch in there, they shouldn't be allowed to have a say in it.
The use of online services on this console is currently restricted by Nintendo. No, his account has not been banned. His system itself is not bricked. Nintendo didn't do the thing everyone was afraid of.
Then what did they do already? Get to the point, please, Primey.
They would brick your system. They didn't do that, but they did indeed ban that system. So that system, if he ever sells it to anyone else, it literally will never be able to use the internet services of Nintendo. Now,
oh, okay, got you. So it can't go on the eShop, essentially, is pretty much what you're talking about. Technically, that's a lot better than bricking the system. I can only imagine how much of an outcry it would be if they actually bricked the system. So at least you can still play the games, but that means you can only do the physical. But the problem with that is they're going closer and closer away from physical media that is going to be very difficult to even use it. So if they sat there, the system got banned. So I was wrong in the beginning. I said the account. It wasn't the account. It was the system getting banned. I mean, that's kind of close enough. Well, not really close enough, but you know what I mean. So if someone does that, they sell the system. When they finally go away from physical media altogether, that system is completely useless.
if it ever gets hacked one day, it still could be a useful system if they find a way to hack into it, and then you can connect to the internet through other means, but you just can't use Nintendo services.
Well, you better hope one day that third-party games, well, they're already going pretty much to the game keycards anyways, but you better hope that Nintendo never goes to game keycards, because that person's completely screwed with that system.
And there's multiple reports. So like any story like this, you have to have double, triple, quadruple confirmation, or it's just a one-off story.
Oh, yes, you do, Promi. Don't make that same mistake again.
I just want to let everyone know to refrain from using their MIG flash on the Switch 2 online for now. My Switch 2 was just banned. My account is fine for now. Only games I had were backed up games.
That is so sad. You literally spent, I'm assuming he spent $500, but let's say he's only spent $450. You literally spent $450. You did something completely legal, and then your system gets banned. That is ridiculous.
Must be some new detection Nintendo has on those MIG switches. Pretty dumb of me to go online with it. That's on me. My Switch 2 was banned, but my main Nintendo account is not banned.
Nah, you weren't dumb. You did something completely legal. Nintendo should stop getting their panties all in a bunch.
But I wouldn't hold my breath just waiting at this point for Nintendo to drop the ban hammer on my account, which, yeah, I think that's a reasonable expectation that your account's going to get banned. And the other report we have on this.
And please tell me you're not going to be okay with this, Primey. Please tell me the old Prime's coming out.
Was actually deleted. This person was being really dumb on the Nintendo Switch 2 subreddit. They tried to act like they did nothing wrong and they don't know why their Switch 2 got banned, and it turned out they were using the dang MIG switch.
Well, it doesn't matter. They didn't do anything wrong.
So, yeah, Nintendo can detect it. So here it is. I'm not avoiding this answer. Plus, it'll be good for the community to know about this.
Well, it is good to let people know about it, but again, Nintendo shouldn't even be doing anything about it.
This is the person who posted it. I have 2 Nintendo Switch 1s and now a banned Switch 2. First Switch 1 is versus a jiggable console.
Jiggable? I have no idea what that meant.
I keep this offline. That means he hacked his system, and it's not signed into any account. Switch 1 is an OLED.
Oh, okay, now I know what that means.
I rarely play it online, and I have a MIG switch with my own backups on it. I've been using it for ages, and I've never been banned. Nintendo Switch 2 is completely clean. I never tried to hack it, and I wouldn't even know how.
Good. See, he's doing something completely legal.
The hacking community haven't released anything. The only thing I can think of is what happens is that I tried my MIG Switch on my Nintendo Switch 2 once. It didn't work. It just showed the game title and refused to load.
I remember seeing that video. I think Spawnwave sat there and did that one. Or maybe not Spawnwave. Someone did it.
I tried to download a title update for it, and that was it. Maybe it downloaded a flag for the console to be banned. This was over a week ago this happened though, and I've been playing with a legitimate cartridge ever since. FYI for the mods, I don't pirate games, I back up my legitimate copies.
See, he's doing something completely illegal, Primey, so you're going to tell me that you're going to stand up for the consumer, right? Don't do it, Primey. I expect more out of you.
Because basically the guy had to I don't know why my system's banned. And yeah, if you guys don't think Nintendo owns the MIG Switch 2, the dumper and everything involving this device, and it's a flash cart, yeah, they own it.
Well, once you buy it, they no longer own it. You own it, actually.
And Nintendo does have the legal right to ban your system, your account, whatever, if you use a flash cart while connecting to their online services.
Of course they do, but just because they can do it doesn't mean they should.
The reason they have this in is consumer protection. I know.
Oh, BS. This ain't no consumer protection. This is nothing more than consumer control.
We could talk about how, hey, I'm just legitimately backing up my games and I just want to simplify it and not carry around so much cartridges. And I understand that use case.
Okay, so then you're going to stand up for him, right? You're going to stand up for this person that just got his system banned, right?
And I'm not even against that use case. But what I will say is they can't guarantee those files haven't been modified in any way. And thus you can end up maybe getting unintended access or intended access in some cases to aspects of Nintendo servers they don't want you to.
Well, then that would be illegal. If you sit there and do something like that where you get access to something you're not supposed to, then that's illegal.
Or lead to you cheating in games like Splatoon. So yeah, Nintendo's going to take this stuff very seriously. And while they didn't brick the console, you could still use these Switch 2s.
Yeah, as long as you have the physical games and everything. But if once they go away with the physical games and just do game key cards, then you're screwed.
In offline mode, so I guess technically if you don't care about ever using Nintendo's online services, I guess you just have an offline Switch 2, but then just never connected to the internet or connected to their services.
What happens if you need the updates for those games or something? When a game comes out broken or buggy and glitchy, you need an update. You're not going to be able to get that, are you?
And use the MIG Switch anyways. Point is, I just wanted to warn people because Switch 1s were never getting banned over this, but that's because Nintendo had no way to detect it. I know they tried updating their software and other things. They just had no way to really detect it.
Well, then it sounds like it wasn't that much of a problem with the Switch 1. Why are they making a big deal about it on the Switch 2 then?
Maybe they needed a hardware, firmware, some sort of detection method built in. Whatever the case is, Nintendo did consider the MIG Switch, which is probably why the MIG Switch wasn't working before.
Okay, come on, Primey, get to your point. Are you good with this one or are you against it? I need to hear it. We all need to hear it.
And even after the update came out that made it work, Nintendo doesn't care because they already had the thing. They probably already reverse engineered it and found ways to put in detection things when you connect to their online services, especially.
Okay, but the question is, Primey, are you okay with it?
But also even maybe when they just see it in your Switch. That's why it wasn't working before. So even though the update makes it work, when you go online, Nintendo can detect that it is a MIG Switch. And yeah.
Question, do you need the MIG Switch to stay in to actually play the game or not? Let me know down in the comments below.
They're going to ban your console. Now, are they going to ban the accounts as well? I don't know. Maybe Nintendo won't go that far. It wouldn't be shocking if they did.
Most likely they will.
But maybe they won't go that far because they can't confirm that you using a MIG Switch means that you are not a legitimate consumer that actually buys their games.
Oh, could you imagine them bricking your systems by using that? Oh, I can see some lawsuits happening.
But don't be surprised if they decide to go that route. They legally can go that route if they want. They
just because they can doesn't make it right.
Are not bricking your system though. So that is one thing to keep in mind is that the story I've seen spread like the first time someone messaged to me, oh my God, Nintendo's bricking systems. It's true. All the stories were true. They can. Well, they could, but they're not.
Probably because they would get sued quicker than you could say hallelujah if they did that.
And in Europe, they can't. For cases like this, they literally cannot break your system. So
good. I think we need to sit here and make laws here to keep them from doing that also. You want to know why? Because it's not their property.
This is just something to keep in mind that there's a little fear-mongering around this story, but also there's legitimate concern.
Yes, there is. Now, you finally going to sit here and do the right thing? Or are you going to let the inner Prime out?
Like, don't use your MIG Switch on Switch 2 if you have one. I'm just saying, look, a lot of you use it for proper reasons and you didn't pirate.
It shouldn't matter for whatever reason you're using it, as long as you are literally not going into areas you're not supposed to go in, like hacking the server or something, then it should be none of Nintendo's business.
But it is a device that is commonly used to play pirated games on Switch 1. It's just a fact. It is commonly used that way, and Nintendo knows that. And while the flash cart's not illegal and that's why you can buy it,
You know, I still don't understand why so many Nintendo fanboys want to sit here and complain about the whole piracy thing. It's not hurting them, and obviously it's not really hurting Nintendo that dang much, because you look at them, they're still becoming profitable more than they've ever been before.
it is against the terms of service to use it and connect to Nintendo's online services. So you kind of get what you pay for, and I gotta say,
Primey, those are very poor choice of words. You are literally failing this community right now. Well, that's it for my reaction. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with me or not. Please like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay vigilant.
You can cry in the comments, but you won't survive. Like and subscribe if you feel that vibe. We're hot and salty.